with the opening statements you all drew for the order. And Governor Chris, you go first.
Thank you very much. I'm running for the United States Senate as an independent because I think Washington is broken, and we need a change of tone in our nation's capital to get it back working for you. Abraham Lincoln once said that the government should be of the people, by the people.
The following message has been transmitted at the request of the Florida Department of Health. Starting today at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a currently unknown contagion has been discovered to be spreading throughout the city of Orlando and most major suburban areas of Orlando. This infection is believed to be a bloodborne infection that travels through the exchange of bodily fluids. It is also believed that the spread of this contagion is connected to the quarantine earlier this morning of the Orlando International Airport, happening today at approximately 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because of this, the Florida Department of Health advises any and everyone to avoid any kind of explicit action that involves the exchange of bodily fluids. If you believe you are infected with this contagion, these are the symptoms you need to look out for. These symptoms include a high fever, loss of muscle control, and foaming at the mouth. This was first believed to be a new strain of the rabies virus, but health officials have concluded by the symptoms that this is in no way connected to the rabies virus. But even if that is so, we still advise everyone to take the actions that have just been laid out in avoiding any kind of bodily fluid contact. Entertainment and retail services will not be available today in the case that this virus might be airborne. If you go out at all, be sure to wear a face mask if you have one. As to control the spread of this contagion, also be sure to stay inside for the time being until health and other officials can control the spread of this contagion, and make sure that it is in no way fatal. If you happen to be showing any of the symptoms of this contagion, contact 911 immediately, and emergency officials will show up to your residence and take you to a secure area where you can be properly quarantined and cured of this contagion. Once again, an unknown contaminant is spreading throughout major suburban areas in Orlando, and it is advised that you stay inside and avoid any kind of contact with foreign bodily fluids. If you are not taking these precautions, you are putting yourself at risk of infecting not only yourself, but others as well, therefore making the spread of this contagion harder to control. So be sure to take these precautions to protect not only yourself, but others as well.
Anything close to the sheer volume of casualties. Badly injured, very frightened people are pouring in, no exaggeration, by the hundreds. And we're told that most of the injuries are bites, not gunshot or stab wounds. This message has been transmitted at the request of the Orlando Police Department. The riots that started earlier in Oak Ridge are starting to cause severe problems, not only in the area that they occupy, but in other surrounding areas. The rioters within these riots
can be seen with abnormal behaviors and constant leakage of bodily fluids. It is now believed that these are not riots connected to the latest political developments, but rather sporadic outbreaks of violent behavior, triggered by the contagion currently spreading across the state of Florida. Reports of this new virus are coming in from all over the state, and reports are still coming in from other parts of the United States East Coast, of civilians showing symptoms of this unknown contagion. But what is certain is that the infection is being passed around rapidly and can possibly cause more damage to the local area if civilians don't take the proper line of action. The city of Orlando and the surrounding areas are now under lockdown. Riots are showing up throughout major urban and suburban areas, and if you happen to be trapped in one of these areas, by no means should you go outside, as you are not only putting yourself at a great risk, but you will also be halting civil defense operations to contain these riots of infected civilians. If you are caught outside in the areas that are listed above, you will be subjected to incarceration at the hands of the police, as you will be halting civil defense operations to contain the rapid spread of this contagion. The symptoms that you were instructed to look out for are symptoms you still need to keep an eye out for, as they can start getting worse if given enough time. For those who have not been informed, these symptoms include high fever, loss of muscle control, and leakage of bodily fluids. Look out for these symptoms in not only yourself, but loved ones that you are occupied with as well, for if they show symptoms, you need to call 911 immediately, so that they can be properly quarantined in a secure location. In the meantime, the city of Orlando is under lockdown. So if you reside within the Orlando area, you are required to go to the nearest building and stay inside. If you are on the road, get back to your home or the nearest building immediately, as you are required to lock down in order to contain the spread of this unknown contaminant. Once again, if you are caught outside during this event, you will be subjected to incarceration at the hands of the Orlando police.
Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
To keep me from going cuckoo for the great chocolatey taste of Cocoa Puffs, I'm going to ride up and down this elevator all day. Crunchy! Chocolatey? That's Cocoa Puffs! Yay!
The following message has been transmitted at the request of the Atlanta city government. Riots of rabid civilians are continuing to cause major damage to the main Fulton County area. Most civil services buildings have been put under quarantine, as it is believed that carriers of the outbreak reside inside such establishments. Experts are also reporting that this virus being seen all across the United States East Coast shares a lot in common with the outbreak of what has unofficially been dubbed the rage virus in the UK, and it is now believed that an outbreak of the rage virus has hit the United States. This virus is extremely dangerous, and individuals infected with this disease show symptoms that are very similar to the rabies virus. These symptoms include, but are not limited to, high fever, loss of muscle control, subconjunctival hemorrhage, and extreme aggression. As this virus is starting to spread out of control, the entire eastern side of the United States has been ordered to be put on lockdown by the U.S. government. Georgia is also advised to lock down in order to contain the spread of this pathogen. Because of this, Citizens are advised to lock themselves inside their house, turn off as many lights as possible, and to not make much noise, as anyone infected can become a dire threat to you and or your loved ones, as these things have been particularly known to attract them and somewhat agitate them. If you suspect yourself or other loved ones to be carriers of the virus, once again, these are the symptoms that you need to look out for. These symptoms include, but are not limited to, high fever, loss of muscle control, subconjunctival hemorrhage, and extreme aggression. If anyone, including yourself, are showing any of these symptoms, quarantine them immediately in an isolated room, lock all of the doors and windows, and immediately call 911, not only to keep you and others safe, but also for military and medical personnel to make it to your residence or current location in order to extract the infected individual into a supervised quarantine location in order to keep you or other infected out of the area and create a cure. As it stands right now, no known cure has been developed for the virus, and individuals infected with this virus will most likely die within due time. We can reassure you that experts are working hard in order to create a cure at the current time. But as of now, hordes of these infected riots have been making their way out of Atlanta and into the surrounding areas. So civilians in the following counties listed above are required to shelter in place and take the precautions that were laid out just now. Anyone on the road is advised not to leave their vehicle, but to not only keep all of your doors locked, but to make it to one of 3 refuge camps that have been set up by military officials within Atlanta. These are the locations for the refuge camps: the Ansley Mall in Piedmont Heights, Atlantic Station in downtown Atlanta, and the Ponce City Market in downtown Atlanta. If you are sheltering in place, do not by any means try to make your way to these locations, as they are reserved for people who cannot make it to their residence at the current moment. If you are stuck in traffic, do as we instructed, and lock all of your doors, and roll up your car windows, and make your way to one of 3 of the locations laid out for you. Do not journey outside of your residence to try and look for loved ones. If you do so, you will not only be risking yourself to possible infections, but you will be subject to incarceration by the police or military officials. Do as we instructed, and we can guarantee that this will all be resolved shortly within the coming days.
For a new car, which one's me, a cool convertible or an SUV? Too bad I didn't know my
Direct fluidic contact. It must enter through the bloodstream through an open on the size of the wound and its proximity to a major blood vessel. No later than 1 to 5 minutes. The victim's primary life function.
The following message has been transmitted at the request of the United States government. By now, the rage virus has spread all across the eastern coast of the United States, and major civilian areas are being greatly affected by the massive spark in rioting by these infected individuals. The United States military has now ordered a mandatory evacuation, as the eastern United States coast has been deemed unsafe and hazardous by United States health and safety officials. If you are able to make it out of your current location and into a nearby automobile, start making your way to one of the 12 evacuation points set up across Richmond, Virginia. If you are unable to leave your current locations, or get to a nearby automobile, U.S. officials are showing up to wherever they can to rescue any unaffected civilians, in order to transport them to one of the 12 main evacuation centers. In the meantime, it is mandatory that you shelter in place, and barricade all of your doors and windows, and lock them as well. Turn off as many lights as you can within your residence, as the infected have been shown to be attractive to light. Make as little noise as possible, as the infected have also been shown to be attracted to sound, all of which agitate the infected severely. If you find yourself in a confrontation with any of these infected individuals, do not panic by no means, as that makes the situation worse not only for yourself, but the infected as well, for panicking can enrage them severely, and put you at a greater risk of infection. Find a nearby weapon, such as a knife or hard object, and take them down, being sure to hit one of the 3 areas that we are about to list. You will need to get them in either the heart, the brain, or the lungs, as these areas are vital for humans to live. Make sure that you also have a month's supply of food and water, for the control of this pathogen is looking to take longer than originally expected. If infected individuals are present within your area, do not go outside by any means, for it will guarantee certain infection. Phone lines are now down, as they are now to be reserved for military and health officials. You will only be able to call emergency personnel or communicate with U.S. military officials, as it is the fastest way you can find any kind of help. These are dark times in U.S. history for sure, but if you take all of the necessary precautions and wait for help to get to your residence, or if you can make it out safely from your current location, this can all be over faster and preserve many more lives than lives lost. May God bless America, and may God be with you all, especially in such dark times.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.